And we are back here at 7:07 as promised. We have the Mayor Pro Tem in the house. That'd be Jeff Griffith. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
You are a little bit bleary-eyed. What did you get any sleep last night?
I left. It was probably one of the longest meetings that in my 6 years. We started a work session at noon. Went through several components in work session, and then of course the council meeting started at 4:30. But that meeting ended. I can't remember exact, but 12:30, 12:45-ish.
Well, did they feed you a Chick-fil-A or anything in between?
We did get, thank goodness, we had some good Mexican food catered in,
All
and some
but no
little bit
drinks.
of snacks, no tea.
Yeah, I was telling you, you have a city council member that long, you have to listen to that many of the public. I think y'all deserve some alcohol in there.
Yeah. I'll tell you to meet that long.
Well, you know, you need to listen to everybody. It's public hearings, and these zone cases, in this case, one of them took several hours, and so that you got to be able to listen to these people.
Okay,
It's important.
One person was several hours?
No, but in the way public hearing works, it's not the 3-minute time limit,
Right.
like we have before the council meeting for citizens' comments, which is a 3-minute component to talk about something on the agenda. But when you have a public hearing, you want to hear from everybody and their concerns.
So how
on
many
that
spoke?
item.
Any idea?
Approximately 25 to 30.
25 or 30 people.
Yes.
So it shows you that there was a lot, and it was about the Dirt Arena, correct?
Yes, this is all
So
about the Expo Center.
It shows that there's a lot of interest in that. Of course, it was approved. The arena was approved by a vote of 5-4 from the council?
The council approval was 4-3. This is
a
Dave,
code change,
first read, so it'll come back as a second read. There could be modifications.
Well, I'm not all that clear, but what is exactly the for those who were speaking negatively about it? What was their issues?
mainly because of the location. Remember, this is a zone case is what we're hearing. It's not about whether you want an arena or where it's located. The zone case that we were hearing is that tract of land at North University and the North Loop.
Mm-hmm.
What's the issue with that?
Some folks were concerned about future greater traffic concerns that live mainly north of there. Nobody, I don't think, south of there, but the majority of there were some people in the Hillcrest neighborhood that mainly the Hillcrest neighborhood that were concerned about traffic increase. And I must bring up, and I respect everybody that spoke last night and their concerns. I get it. You know, we've had rodeo at the Coliseum for 70 years in the past, and obviously there's traffic coming and going from there. But anytime you put a 100-acre facility close to a neighborhood, it's going to, you know,
It's going to have an impact.
Yes, regardless of
Let me say, by the way, our text lines are open. So if you have a question for Councilman Griffith, 806-680-2790 is the number. Love to hear from you.
Yeah. So as far as we do want to say that y'all voted for the zoning change.
4-3.
4-3.
Yes.
It was close, but it did go through. And the concerns weren't just that. There were other concerns. Some people didn't like the location. You said that the fairgrounds had somebody there, the fair board.
Yes, and the they were very respectful in their thoughts in that that they would be open to a location on their campus.
Mm-hmm.
And so
the fair would like to see it out there.
I believe
And
some of their
we
board
heard,
now.
and I forget now who told us this, but it was somebody that definitively said it just not big enough. They just don't have enough land out there.
It is
for a facility like they want to build.
and that's that is an issue because the actual tract of property that we approved on the first read is 133 acres. It gives them expansion as this group has been to many different facilities all over Oklahoma and Mexico, not just Texas. As they analyzed, they realized that don't get yourself landlocked, because most of these event centers, the growth of folks involved in livestock and the support of Texas Tech, their use of the facility, believe will be very heavy from their letters and comments. But the point is that the fairground definitely is landlocked, with McKenzie Park to the east, free I-27 to the west, Marcia Sharp to the north, Broadway to the south. So as far as long term, not, you don't want to give yourself a problem in 10 years. So this gives them more space.
Did they say how big of a facility they wanted to build right now, how many seats they were going to do, where it was going to be located on the property? I mean, were all these things a part of their presentation for getting this changed?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And the county commissioners, again, this is, of course, basically a county-funded project.
Right.
Will there be donor money? Yes, I'm sure there will be. But let's say there's no donor money. Let's just say they use the hotel motel tax that the Lubbock County and the city of Lubbock voters approved 2-1. So a lot of people wanted this project to go forward, that voted for it.
Okay, let's take a quick break and we'll come back and pick it up right there. And we are back on KFYO Mornings. Dave King, Matt Martin, and the Mayor Pro Tem, Jeff Griffith, with us this morning. And we have a lot of folks who are interested in our conversation this morning that's texted in. But we kind of cut you off there mid-sentence. We were still talking about the vote last night on the dirt arena. And where were we on that? It
was a close vote, and I did vote for it after analyzing and talking with the county commissioners. Remember, this is a county project. And so I respect the commissioners' court.
So to be clear, the only issue or the only thing that the city has to do with it is zoning, then.
That's correct. This is a zoning case, Dave. Thanks for bringing that up. This is a zoning case.
It's not whether we're going to have one or not. It's where you're going to zone, how you're going to zone the land that they propose putting it on.
Some of the mechanisms that the county commissioners court, in the agreement with this body, LCEC as they're known, Lubbock County Expo.
It's a private group.
501c3. They, that's really the county commissioners court, and I respect that body and the members of that and their work they're doing to bring this product forward, because, again, that they've already increased the tax for hotel motel to pay for this, for the majority of it. Now, there could be donor money added to it, but that mechanism is a nuance, in my opinion, of our responsibility as the city council was a zone case. And our planning and zoning commission a few weeks ago had already approved this unanimously.
Okay.
As a zone case. Again, that was our responsibility as a zone case. So to your point, it's not whether or not you want this arena. It is about, is it right for that property?
And you had a county commissioner, 2 or 3 county commissioners that spoke last night to the council, did they not?
Yes.
And
yes.
You had at least one that spoke negatively about it.
Yes, he, excuse me, the commissioners court had voted unanimously to sign the agreement to go forward with this group and location. The point is that some folks change their minds, and that's okay. But Commissioner Corley and Commissioner McKay both stood and spoke in favor. Commissioner Flores spoke against, and that is his precinct.
And you said you spoke directly to Commissioner C as well.
I did speak with Commissioner C, yes, repeatedly.
So
and out of respect to those guys, this is their project. Mm-hmm. If it was the other way around and it was a city funded and event center, we're putting it in the county. We have great dialogue with our commissioners court, and your city and your county. That's I applaud that there is more dialogue with city council than we've had in the past. And no offense to anybody in the past, this is folks that realize that city and county need to work together. And Commissioner C and I recently one particular we won't launch it right now, but there's one particular item that we both have spoke about. We've already made enhancements to, I believe. So city and county need to work together. Here's my point.
Well, we have a texture this morning that said regarding putting this or locating it at the fair, said there's probably enough room at the fairgrounds if they're willing to reroute Avenue A. Okay, those ugly rundown buildings at the fairground need to go in any case. So, that would, I think, be the ideal location for it. But
I think everybody agrees that if you took a poll in this city, in this metro area, I think a lot of folks would say that was their original. By the way, in the presentation by the Expo group, as they brought data and showed us their top 10 locations that they looked at in Lubbock. You know what the number one was? The fairground.
Yeah.
That was their number one to start with. And as they did analysis, they realized because it was landlocked that it really didn't fit.
Yeah.
And and again, it wasn't our decision on trying to create another location. It was our decision, is this North University and the Loop track the best?
We have a texter that wants to know how many commissioners were how many commissioners were at the city council meeting. You said 3.
Yeah, I think one came and left very quickly. That way they avoid a quorum.
Okay. Another texter this morning on a different subject says, who do we hold accountable for nothing being done about all these reckless drivers and crashes and deaths?
Very serious topic. And I think that we're very concerned about the fact that we had over 50 fatalities last year. In the past years, it would average about 24 to 28. That's still too many, but when it doubles, it's really hits home.
So do we
texting and driving, distracted driving, in my opinion, y'all, is one of the worst problems we have right now.
Our new police chief made that very point.
Chief Mitchell's got his. He's highly focused on this. I appreciate him. He's been great so far, and I appreciate him.
Do we have any information on what percentage of those were had alcohol or drugs involved?
Great question, Matt. I don't have the exacts on that, but I don't think that the alcohol component is increased. I think what you're seeing is distracted driving. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you think about how many times you've been at a stoplight and somebody zooms right through. I mean, it happens. It's. I assure you that I recommend that all motorists slow down, not just for public safety, but motorists in Lubbock need to slow down because you will get
Okay.
a ticket.
All right, we got to take a break here. Coming up on the 7:30 break on KFYO Mornings with Matt and Dave. We'll return with more of the Councilman after this. News Talk, 95.1 FM, 790 AM. We are KFYO Mornings. Dave King and Matt Martin here, broadcasting from the Thacker Jewelry Studio. You can see that custom collection at 6120 82nd Street here in Lubbock. And we're back with Mayor Pro Tem, City Councilman Jeff Griffith this morning. And he's telling us about what transpired at the City Council meeting last night. And, Jeff, we have a slew of people this morning who have questions for us. And it's about traffic. It says we used to have public service commercials about how to drive correctly, and now we have how to obey traffic laws. Now we get ambulance chaser ads. Plus, Lubbock has the worst timed signal light issue of any large city in West Texas. It's frustrating, which leads to speeding drivers.
I think for the most part, our signals are fairly on track. I mean, they're timed pretty well. There's a few places that I'm like, really? But no, for the most part, if you follow the speed limit, you're probably not going to hit too many red lights.
It's supposed to work that way, I know we're not perfect. We've spent, and I can't even quote the number, but we have spent a lot of money, tax dollars, on the system to keep the flow of traffic so that, because, I mean, I always say this, and no offense to our friends in Austin, we don't want to become Austin. And,
boy, isn't that the truth?
And so their traffic concerns have taught us a lot. A lot of times you learn from other cities. And in this case, I think that we're way better on traffic, but we're not perfect.
Yep.
And so if there's a certain area that on the traffic signals that somebody's having issues with, have them, please contact me.
Okay. We have another texter that says, why is the Citizens Tower opening being constantly delayed?
It is delayed. I am on the facilities committee and look at that project and walk it about once a week and have a meeting on it once a week. The furniture is in on floors 2 through 10. So there's some finish out at the bottom, a little bit of finish out on the top, and the customer service center for utility billing, which is the new building across the street with a 19,000 square foot basement. Yes, we are behind. There's a lot of construction in Lubbock, a whole lot of construction in Lubbock, and some of our staffing as far as and Lee Lewis Construction has done a phenomenal job, in my opinion, on this project. But getting enough subs there timely is sometimes.
So it's just a matter of not enough workers.
Yeah. Here's the good news. We may be late, but we're under budget.
That's good news.
That's more important, in my opinion.
And we have a texture this morning that says, and again, it's about traffic, bringing in more traffic when y'all can't handle what you have right now. Y'all need to hire some more traffic cops.
Okay.
It's speeding. No cops, no radar anywhere.
We broke ground on another substation last week in the south, and talking about these traffic concerns. Matt, when we were talking about the traffic fatalities, Dave, this is a high priority, community policing and increasing patrol throughout the city. So, yes, we are. That is a high. I mean, I get it. I drive streets a lot. Well, I drive my district a lot. And I want y'all to know that it is everywhere. It's not, I mean, I go back to the cell phone. We were talking during the break about distracted driving. It's please, everybody put their phone down. And I used to be the worst. I'll be the first to admit. We need to put our phones down. And the point about PSAs on how to drive, I will take that back to the city manager, and maybe we think about a campaign to talk about driving responsibly.
Well, I'll tell you, that's what's on a lot of our listeners' minds this morning. We have another listener that says, "What happened to this big push against spiders?"
Speeders.
I'm against spiders also. I'm scared of
Well,
spiders.
when I saw this, I was taken back for a moment there, and I saw spiders.
Speeders.
I think it's speeders.
There
was police everywhere for 3 days, and now they're completely gone. I haven't seen anyone stopped or getting a ticket in almost 2 weeks. And again, it seems like the majority of our listeners this morning are concerned with Lubbock traffic.
Well, and I appreciate the fact that folks are bringing this up. I will bring it up with the city manager and police chief Mitchell.
Okay,
because I think that this is very important.
Let me on this topic right here. One of the problems that I've seen as far as potential fatalities, honestly, is people crossing streets that they shouldn't. In other words, pedestrians walking across. Avenue Q's really, really bad about it, but Avenue Q and 34th area, that whole area is pretty bad about pedestrians just flat out walking across, not crosswalks, not with a light. Is this also something that's being looked at as a problem?
It is. I'm going to use one. It's
seen
all over the
people
city.
Crossing the loop.
Yes. Marcia, the mayor told me he was on Marcia Sharp the other day, and somebody ran across in front of him.
It's a good way to die.
It is. Avenue Q is an entire crosswalk, and we're actually in talks with TxDOT. Avenue Q is still a state highway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're in talks with TxDOT now on the future of Avenue Q, but there needs to be some truly life safety components.
Man, listen, you got a lot of people at that hotel over there, 50 Avenue Q, just south of 50th, and you see them walking across to that United Supermarket.
Yeah.
All the time. And every time I go by there. And that is so dangerous. And I know that we had one killed here back a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah, we've had too many fatalities.
Okay, let's do a quick break. We want to come back, and I want to try to get all of our texters in this morning and get their questions answered. So we'll be right back with the councilman in just a moment. And we are back. Dave and Matt here in the morning on KFYO, and City Councilman Jeff Griffith with us. And again, I don't think we're going to be able to get all these text messages in, but the vast majority, well, in fact, all of them in the last several minutes have been nothing but about traffic in Lubbock. And so that's what's on many of our listeners' mind this morning. And I know you, and we had
thank y'all for texting in. Thank y'all.
We had the new police chief on our show, and I'm very, very impressed with him. He seems to be very knowledgeable, and I think he's going to be a good one.
Yeah. We're very blessed that we got him, in my opinion, and he's been great to work with. I will report this back to him that this morning we had so many folks, and I appreciate all your listeners.
It's by far away the number one issue.
Yes,
this morning.
I appreciate their concerns because I see it every day, and Chief Mitchell needs to hear this.
Hey, let's get to the one that I think is going to draw some attention, because Randy Christian brought it up last time he was here, and this is this infrastructure tax that you're looking at.
Impact
tax.
Fee.
Tell us about what it is. Explain it, if you would, and tell us if you guys are looking at it seriously.
We are. This has been a study. Part of the Plan 2040 was to create a impact fee for new development. Remember, this only affects new development. So let's say Matt and Dave want to do a development, and you're going to build 300 houses, okay? And so you buy raw dirt inside the city limits, and as you plan that, some of the infrastructure cost as far as water and sewer, stormwater, the city in the past has paid a larger share in those new developments. This basically means that, and lots of cities across Texas do this. This is something we've involved with the Home Builders Association on, very sensitive to our Developers Council, because these developers and home builders don't need their cost to raise we can hurt affordable living.
Well, yeah, I mean, because what's going to happen, they're not going to be the ones paying it. It's the people that are buying the houses that are going to be the ones paying
They're
it.
going to pass it through to the property owner. So
But Jeff,
if y'all build those 300 houses, you sell those lots, and you add 1,000 per lot, let's say, to help the infrastructure cost.
But Randy Christian was talking about 5,000 per lot.
Plus. There could be that. There is cities that charge greater than that. There is sampling that the committee showed us in that range. I think that you've got to be very sensitive to the market. We cannot price. It's got to be fair, and it is. Lots of cities do this. Most of the growing cities do this. Because after a while, you can't afford to continue to put in infrastructure from a city tax dollar standpoint, and you're always playing catch up. So if folks want to live in a brand new house, and yes, their cost goes up somewhat. And if you break it down a little bit and say it's real easy for us to sit here and do the math and go, oh, well, over a 20-year mortgage, that's not that much money on a $300,000 house or $200,000 house even. But the point is, this is analyzed right now by the committee. We have developers, builders on that committee representing those entities. And so they're going to be very sensitive to what this really does.
See, Jeff, this is the thing that I can't. We've been doing it the other way forever, and that's worked. But here's the thing: when Matt and I go out here and build these 300 houses, how much tax revenue is the city going to get off of that?
That's correct, but at the same time,
that pays for the streets and the sewer and all that. That must be there.
In theory, it does, but as the city grows, your cost relationship has gotten out of bounds, and that's why it's not just Lubbock. I'm not putting it on the backs of other cities, but you can look at a lot of other cities in Texas that do it this way. By the way, you know who created this, the ability to do this? The Texas Home Builders Association.
Oh, I understand that.
Did this with the state legislature to make sure that things were on an even playing field and people weren't all over the board on it.
But that's because they can take the money and they can pass it on to the consumer, but it's the consumer that's getting hurt by this. And also to me, it looks like it's a double dip by the city, because you can get the fees, and then it raises the value of the house, and you can get more taxes out of it as well.
In theory, yes, property values go up.
Well, yeah, if you charge an extra $5,000 per property, they go by how much those properties sell to the value of the house.
Okay, let's get into let's really get down to brass tacks on it and look at what the dollars of the infrastructure is today versus what it used to be. And you can say, well, everything's relative from the 70s, 80s, 90s. The cost of doing that is much greater than you would think.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay, we've got to take a quick break, and then we'll come back with more of the Councilman and close out after this. Okay, and we're back here just for a couple of minutes, and I want to read this one text message. It says, as someone who finances new subdivisions, the developer pays all of the costs related to their lots and on the property they're developing. The city is responsible for getting water and sewer to their development and has to add treatment plants, etc. in time, but again, tax value should cover that. I see this as a money grab because it's available. Anyway, I think there's going to be some. I think there's going to be some pushback on that.
Well, anyway. I'm sure there is, and that's why I'm concerned about the amount that would be assessed. So the formula's got to be
Okay.
very, very accurate and very efficient.
Okay, we have 1 minute remaining. And of course, we're always glad when you guys come out and speak and impart information to our audience. And glad you're here. Anything that you want to close with that we haven't covered? Anything come to mind?
We'll continue to analyze on the impact fee. I'm glad we talked about that. We will hopefully everybody drive safer, please, and get off your phones. That's the one thing today I think we need to talk about.
Yeah, and the councilman promises to talk to the folks in power down there
Yes,
in charge
absolutely.
of traffic.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
Well, thanks for coming.
All right. Thanks for coming out, and we're looking for you next, I guess, couple of weeks or so. We'll be back with more after this.